payroll wasn't your biggest expense, but your biggest driver of profit? I am so excited to dig into this question today. And joining me on the Profit by Design podcast is Caitlin, our success team lead and how to hire the best strategist. Dr. Sabrina is on her 6-week vacation. And this is the perfect day to record this podcast because earlier today, I'm going to take you on a story behind the scenes. Earlier today at Tap the Potential, Caitlin and I were leading our Jumpstart workshop, and Dr. Sabrina wasn't there. She's on vacation again. And while we're about to record the workshop, we always have this huddle right before that our team comes together, and Caitlin and myself were there, and Heather, our amazing executive assistant, was there, and we were talking about the podcast. And it was so funny because like in 3 minutes flat, we figured out a way to streamline what we do and save a lot of money on an expense at Tap the Potential. Dr. Sabrina has no idea. Our leadership team has no idea. We'll take it there next week. And this is just the perfect example, Caitlin, of exactly what this podcast episode is about. When your team members support you as the business owner and looking for profit, talk to us. Caitlin, I just want to hear your thoughts. And what is the biggest way that you can support your team in knowing how to drive profit for your business?
We talk about this all the time at Tap the Potential, right? So if you've been tuning into the Profit by Design podcast, or maybe you follow us on social media, you hear Dr. Sabrina always talk about our $10,000 an hour activities, right? And as a business owner, we know that it's important for us to focus on our highest value activities that drive the business forward. But do we ever stop, sit back, and think about our team members and what they're focused on? Mm-hmm. 9 times out of 10, business owners who are coming into the Better Business, Better Life program, or maybe even How to Hire the Best, our course, they're thinking about the owner's time, protecting their time. Oftentimes, they're thinking about the tasks that don't really align with them or their strengths, things that they would love to just get off of their plate. But what we find 9 times out of 10 is team members are taking over tasks from business owners, and it's not even aligned with their strengths. It's not saving or making your company money. Or it's not something that moves the needle towards your mission, your vision, and your purpose. And for so long, I think we've seen as a team what's possible when all of us are working from our strengths and when all of us understand what is the most value that we can add from those strengths to support. That's what we see time and time again.
Okay, so I'm going to take this a little bit higher level.
Mm-hmm.
When you have a very vivid, robust vision for your business, mm-hmm. and you are clearly articulating what the vision for the business is, where you're going, where you're going to be in the next 3, 5, 10 years, mm-hmm. and then you articulate in that vision each team member's role and what their one key result is that they're responsible for delivering, that is a game changer. And then you can look at, well, what are their $10,000 an hour activities that will support them to achieve that one key result. So I think I shared a couple of weeks ago on the podcast how I took something over for Dr. Sabrina, and it's something that she did for, gosh, I don't know, almost 20 years herself, and I finally fully take it over, and I realized that there were so many ways to simplify the system on the back end to deliver this for our clients, but also there was a way to simplify it for our clients and give them an even more impactful delivery. So that is a perfect example of how my time is worth $10,000 an hour in my role. So we want to create those opportunities for our team members, because really, if they don't understand your vision and what the key result is for them, then they don't know what success looks like. They have no
Absolutely.
idea how to create value for themselves, for you as the business owner. They're struggling to solve problems or what problems and make decisions on their own. So, what we want to do is give them that overall vision so that they know what their highest value is, and then create the systems to support them with that.
And I think the best thing to reflect on as a business owner is think back at the time when you started your business and you didn't have that vision in place. Did you know how to show up to work every day? Did you know how to serve your clients and customers? Did you know how to lead your team? Did you know what even your expectations were as an owner operator of your own business? Well, if you didn't, how is your team going to know? And I think what's really beautiful that happens in How to Hire the Best all of the time when team members start to come in and they're in the hiring process and we're working with them on different strategies and solutions to implement in their business so that their team can really get on the bus with them, right? When they see the vision, when they hear it, and they can start to see themselves in where they fit into it like a puzzle piece,
Ah,
they have their own perspectives on where they can leverage their own strengths or their role or even evolve their role to see what's even possible, right? So when Dr. Sabrina first read her vision to me, this was when I was a success concierge and the Connect assistant. And I came from a background of workforce development, and it was a huge why for Tap the Potential. I wanted to support business owners who wanted to have team members to have full lives and thrive at work. That was a huge driver for me. And when Dr. Sabrina read her vision, I remember thinking to myself, gosh, I love the How to Hire the Best course. I would love to be a part of that. But then the gremlins start to creep in, and I didn't know what my strengths were at the time. I didn't even know what was possible for me. I didn't think about it like that because no business owner had handed over a vision and said, where do you see yourself fitting in this? How can you, what do you want to see happen? This vision is set for 2025, 2027. What are the ways in which you can grow? And that changed everything for me. And now, being part of the How to Hire the Best course, Dr. Sabrina doesn't need to come in and facilitate that. She can pop in from time to time, say hello, and support our clients. But truly, I'm now the driver of that. And that means Dr. Sabrina can focus on the one thing that nobody else can do that she does best, and that's our visibility. So when that happens is where the growth lies. That's where the profit is leaking. Is you've hired people, you're paying them to do whatever work you've set out for them to do. But as the business owner, you may not know what their goals are. You may not know where they want to stretch and grow. You may not even know what's possible for them. But when they start to align themselves with where your company is headed and they start to see themselves in that work, that's where the magic happens. That's where the growth happens. And that's where the opportunities for business owners to step out of the day to day, that's when it happens.
yeah. What you're also describing is A player retention,
Mm-hmm.
because if A players aren't allowed to have some autonomy to innovate, to grow, to actually see themselves in a future with your business, then they're going to get bored and they're going to look elsewhere. So, Caitlin, tell us about what that looked like for you. I remember we were in Little Rock with Dr. Sabrina a few years ago, and you had a vision for the role that you wanted at Tap the Potential, and she said, write it out, and you did that. Tell us about that and how that unfolded.
It was a magical time. It still always is, but I remember it vividly. So, it's Have the Potential, we have the How to Hire the Best course, right? And we're teaching you how to attract, hire, and really support A player team members. When Dr. Sabrina read my vision, when she read my personal vision as it relates to the company vision, and she started to hear the picture that I was painting, the light bulbs started to go off, right? And she sat back and had to really determine what tools can we put into place to ensure that Caitlin can see progress, she can see growth, and she can see a seat at the table for long term success at Tap the Potential. And when she reverse engineered that, she created the A Player Development Tracker. And this is a tracker that I own, that I update consistently, whether it's monthly or quarterly, depending on my career and my personal goals. I have a tool that tracks every single step in my training process, every single goal that I want to achieve. It even lists the type of support that I need from team. Sometimes it's from Dr. Sabrina. Sometimes we have Amy, our integrator. She's an incredible coach. She supports me as well. And sometimes it's even you as the lead strategist at Tap the Potential, because there are so many ways in which I want to stretch and grow as a coach. She created a tool that I could take ownership over, really see my value, see my worth, see my progress over time, and then recruit support, not just from her as the business owner, but everyone on the team to be able to accomplish those goals. And the reason these things are so important, as you just stated, Melissa, A players, they come with you to grow. They are looking for opportunities to challenge themselves, to thrive, to create and establish roles for themselves within your company.
Yeah.
And when they can actually track and see and take ownership over their own training and development, it creates trust. It creates opportunities to stretch and grow that you may not have thought possible.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a track record. It shows me why Tap the Potential, why I love doing what I love doing, and that I am aligning myself with a company that doesn't just care about clients and customers the way that we do, but they care about the team that delivers the results that our clients see. You see me as a human. And that's why this tool exists. And the moment that that shift started to happen was the path that really led towards more leadership roles in sales and in marketing and in strategy.
Yeah, and you actually created your own role. So what
Yeah.
did that look like when she said, "Okay, I want you to write out what your role looks like"? What
Hmm.
happened? Tell us about that day.
So I really had to hold up a mirror as a young professional, and I had to say, okay, I want to develop a role that has never existed at Tap the Potential before. Now, I knew all the framework of how to hire the best. And I knew that what's most important is the sweet spot of our company, my strengths, either what naturally comes to me or the skills that I've honed and refined over time that make me so unique. And I needed to have an acumen. I needed to understand business strategy and be able to think like Dr. Sabrina. Because when you're creating roles in your company, you don't create roles around people. You create roles around what the business needs. And there was some development that needed to happen on my end in order to see that through. There are some opportunities that I needed to lean in with Dr. Sabrina and the rest of the team with, so that I could build my skills as a coach and as a strategist, and learn more about the evolving nature of workforce development. And I had to take an approach by understanding the key pieces of the Tap the Potential solution. Because if I didn't understand that as it relates to the business, now, mind you, this was only about what, 6 months, 8 months into me working at Tap the Potential. So this predates, this is several years ago when I came onto the team and when the Tap the Potential solution was still fairly new. So there were key pieces that needed to happen. And along the way, I had to hit certain metrics. We had KPI indicators. There was specific development that I had to do, that I chose to do willingly because I was excited and I wanted to build this role. And again, I needed to understand the strategies that we implement with our clients, because if you don't understand the sweet spot of your business, how can you know how to serve your top clients and customers better? How can you learn how to surprise and delight them? How can you determine how to innovate systems so that they're streamlined? Because I hold three seats, if you really think about it. And we're all part time at Tap the Potential. So, truly, what does that look like? There was a lot of steps that we took together. I didn't have to do it alone. I was I'm surrounded in Tap the Potential, a company of all coaches and of team members with the same immutable laws.
Mm. So the steps that you're describing and everyone can apply to the roles in their businesses, you want to have a clearly defined vision statement where your team members can understand why your company exists, who you serve, your mission is clearly laid out, your immutable laws or your core values are articulated in that.
Mm-hmm.
And each team member can see their role inside that vision and how them performing their role is going to drive the business to fulfill that vision. And then also their key result. So, what is the one thing that this role accomplishes? And again, it's based on what the company needs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then those key performing indicators or KPIs so that a team member has a metric, a measurable goal to reach and exceed and keep improving. That's exactly what you're describing here, Caitlin, and that's really the key to how you can turn your payroll into your profit driver. And when you have A players who are so dedicated to your mission, why your company exists, and who just want to move it forward like you do, and we teach you, Caitlin teaches you how to attract them. Caitlin actually will write job descriptions for our clients and they just love them. It's amazing. We've even gotten people who are applying for jobs just praise the job descriptions because they haven't seen the ones that you're developing. So with all that said, though, you want to do those three things, and then your team members are going to really be able to shine.
Yeah.
And that's exactly the part of this is why our clients are achieving the results that they are at Tap the Potential, because
Absolutely.
we set the KPIs for me in client delivery, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna exceed these, so I'm on a mission, like, consistently to exceed those. And that's how we get our results, because Dr. Sabrina attracted team members who want the same things that she wants. So I always tell our clients when they come into our program, I'm like, listen, I want your business to be great. It sounds great for you to take more time off and make more money, but really I'm here so that you can have a great life. And that's what's called the Better Business, Better Life program, right? So I
Exactly.
know, if we can make that happen, then your business is automatically going to reach the goals that we're promising. So that's what we're looking at, and we're just living and breathing by those KPIs. And if the KPIs get off, then we know, okay, what's going on. We can start being curious and asking questions. But so many times we forget to bring our team members on board
Mm-hmm.
on the bus with us and really give them a destination, because without that destination, you're never going to get anywhere. So have that vision, and you can take a look at, if you haven't read it, or if you have the book laying around, Dr. Sabrina's book, The 4 Week Vacation, just turn to page 128 and start reading about the vision and why that's so important. It's
Yeah.
weird that I know that page number, isn't it?
It isn't, because you are a chief dream officer here at Tap the Potential. So it would make sense that visioning and dreaming is definitely your jam. And I think, just to take that a step further, Melissa, what really stood out to me that you said is, we forget to bring our team members on the bus with us. And I think that is the best way to really articulate what's possible when business owners unstuck themselves.
Yeah.
And recognize the team that you have in front of you. And if these are A players, if these are people who are intrinsically motivated, who are very excited about the work that you're doing, that show up motivated and energized and excited, or maybe they want to problem solve with you, or maybe they want to innovate with you. Those are A players. And if you've got them, bring them on the bus. Notice when they need the training and development so that you can retain them and get them the support that they need. And one of the ways in which we can do that outside of the Better Business, Better Life program is our Leadership Bootcamp course. This is really an opportunity for you to take the A players who are on your team. And again, I just gave the definition of what that is. If you want to transition them into leaders who are strategic thinking partners, who know what their highest value activities are, we call those your $10,000 an hour activities, and you want them to be able to problem solve and innovate with you so that you're not doing business alone, let's have a conversation. Head on over to tapthepotential.com, book your call with me so that we can talk about what you need, what your team needs, all so you can turn your payroll into something you maybe haven't seen before.
I love this. And Leadership Boot Camp is something that we only offer, what is it, twice a year?
If that. So it depends on a multitude of different factors, but typically we only run this twice per year. So this is the last time that we'll be running a leadership boot camp cohort this year. So sign your team members up and just imagine what's possible at the end of this year if your team understands their strengths, understands their Achilles heels and can work through those, understand how to collaborate and communicate more effectively with each other, with you, and understand what their $10,000 an hour activities are and how to think strategically with you in the business. That's all possible if you sign them up.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Caitlin, for joining me today. And I look forward to having you again next week on the podcast. And we're going to talk more about team members and team development. I just appreciate you for being here. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in to the Profit by Design podcast. We look forward to seeing you